Hi, this is Stephen Brower from Art Valley Community College. This is for CSIT 256 Computer Architecture and Assembly Language. And this is continuation of the demos for Irvine Chapter 5. And what I want to do is expand upon something that was the demo in Chapter 3. Yeah, in Chapter 3, I had declared this array, apples sold by month, and initialized it to 0. What I want to do is I want to revisit this in terms of, well, first I'll display it, and then what I'll do is I'll go and get input from the user for it. So suppose we do want to display it. Well, you know what? One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to take this code. I'm highlighting too much, but I'll go and edit it. I'll take this code that we had for the first piece, and I'll make changes to it. So here, let me do the display, let me get the name of it, the apples sold by month array. Whoops. Display the apples sold by month array. Okay, so we'll initialize the offset ESI to 0 because we want to be displaying the array. We'll do the length of the apples sold by month for ECX. Since I'm not going to comment out the first piece here, well, maybe I should. Well, still, let me use a different label anyway. So let me do the L2, and let me just jump down here and make this L2 as well. Okay. Now, for what I'm going to be displaying, well, actually, because we have multiple quote-unquote months, let's do the same thing. So if I do load EAX with the length of the apples sold by month, subtract from it ECX, which is the current, and then we add 1, then this piece here, this should be the what month it is. For the display, what I'll do for right now is, okay, and actually since this was from part, the prior one, and let me do as a display, that'll be fine. Let me do this. So let's do a move EAX. Well, I can go back and we'll enhance it in a little bit. And we'll load EAX with character to display. Okay. And then I'll do the colon. Now we want to get the value that we're displaying. Since the apples sold by month is an array of SD words. Wait, did I have it assigned SD words? It is SD word. So then I can load that into EAX. I don't need to do anything special. Into, let me add what ES points to in apples sold by month array. Now here what I'm going to do, because this is signed, I'm going to call write int. So I'm going to say display the signed value from EAX onto the console. That's the same, and then we'll do the new line. The moving of ESI. So in this case here, since we do have an array of SD words, since it's an array of SD word, it actually adds 4 to ESI. And if I did this right, this should display, since I only have zeros in here, this should display the 12 zeros for this. Oh God, I can't believe it compiled. Yes, I'm very confident in my coding abilities. Uh, and, oh, you know what? Let me, just for the purposes of this demo, let me go and do a block comment out for that first piece that was from the prior demo. So let me do a block comment for, and hopefully I don't have an exclamation point in here. It's not often that I use exclamation points in the code, and just double checking. Okay, so here are the apples sold by month. These are the values that are here. Okay, how about okay, let me do it this way. Let's say this is the label for apples sold array. And this is going to be apples sold by month. Okay. And so suppose before I do this display down here, so before I do the display, let me move into EDX the offset of the label for apples sold array. Let me say prepare to display label for array. Call write string, and that will display the string. And let me call a clerf, which is the equivalent of the /n. And actually, you know what? Let's do that twice. So I should have a blank line before the data that's there. So then I have, okay, apples sold by month, and then here's the list of the apples sold by month. Okay. Since I want to display this more than once, I think what I want to do is I want to stick that into a procedure. And so let me be lazy. This declares the main procedure. So let me come down here for doing additional ones here. Let me take this. Let's take the end part here. Let's do this. The one thing a procedure needs is the return, but let me call this the display array procedure. Here's the display array procedure. And so, like the Java doc comments, the display array procedure displays the contents of the apples sold by month array. That's what it does. Inputs, none, but assumes that the array exists and the label exists. None, but assumes apples sold by month array exists and string exists. Okay, so let me take the code that I have for doing the display and let me move that into the procedure that I just created with the return statement. Okay, so right now I have this new procedure I wrote called display array. So what I can do is the procedure I just wrote, call display array. Yeah. Okay, still works. That's good. So what I like to do now is I want to get from the user the data, and I want to load it into the array. So one thing is the individual prompt for the user. So let me do the apples sold prompt. This is going to be enter apples sold for the month. Okay, so what I'll end up doing that is going to be inside of, well, we're going to need another loop. But let me just work on this piece first. So let me move edx offset of apples sold prompt, call right string. I'll do this as display apples sold prompt to user. And now that we have that, since we're using SD words, let me call read int. And so I will get an unsigned, get a signed D word from user. Value is an EAX. Okay. And what I want to do is, since EAX has the value, I want to stick it into the array. Well, I don't have a loop for dealing with this. So really, this is going to be inside of a loop. So I want to load ECX with the length of the apples sold by month array. I'm cheating by coming down here. Well, actually, yeah. Actually, let's really cheat. Let's take that and bring that up here. Okay. Let me do L3 just so that we're unique. And so we want to do inside the loop, we'll prompt the user, ask them to enter a number. Now that EAX has the value, we want to move it into the array. So we want to move into the apples sold by month array with the offset of ESI, the value that the user entered. So store user input to memory. Okay. And so then what we want to do is we want to move to the next element in the array. So add ESI, type of the apples sold by month. So we'll move to next element. And then we want to do a loop, L3. And so remember that this does ECX, so subtracts 1 from ECX. If ECX is greater than 0, go to L3. Now, if I'm going to go and get all that from the user, I'm going to want to display the array. So let's call the display array again afterwards. So I should see at the very beginning that the array is empty, and then I should see that the array has values. So initially, here's the array that is 0. Oh, I'm running out of time. Look for part 2.